Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Wake and Jake. Football is done. It's baseball season, says a couple tweets. February 9th, and we'll talk a little Super Bowl at the end. A little game, a little halftime show. You guys know I don't like to, well, I do like to toot my horn if I'm being honest. Kind of nailed the football game. I know I did like 3 minutes on it, but Seahawks were just the better team. The Patriots still evoke a weird, angry emotion out of me that's good, and it's supposed to be fandom. But yeah, that was torture for Patriots fans. But before we get there, we got a lot of ball to catch up on. Going back to the Brendan Donovan trade, Framber Valdez signed with Detroit, and then there was a couple, they're leaking in today. Ozuna from the Braves to the Pirates. What was the other one? Caleb Durbin trade, 6 players. So I don't know. We'll just chew through all of it. And a special edition for the Real Wake and Jakers. BBD is moving today, so we have Dan Allen Rourke on the 1s, 2s, and 3s. So maybe we'll sneak in a little Yankee chat. I don't know. How you doing, Dan?
Good, yeah. It's a pleasure to be here. I don't have my box up just yet. I don't want to get too used to being in the corner of a show.
Once you start,
I've asked Rose and Blue for years, but
they can't handle it. I've never been afraid to share.
It's good to be here.
Big LA personalities. Let's get into it. I guess we'll go biggest fish to smallish fish. Framber Valdez signs with the Detroit Tigers, which that also piggybacks off the Scooble news, which remind me to check in with Dan. Me and Jom got murdered online for a day, which was good to feel anything for a little bit. Because we said trading for Scooble and Freddie Peralta is kind of the same, / we said Freddie might get a better price tag. Part of that was because Freddie Peralta makes $8 million. Derek Scooble is going to make $32 this year. Anyways, Scooble, good for him. Framber Valdez signs. Largest contract ever for a Latin pitcher. So snaps. Okay. Benito, Bad Bunny, big weekend. And for Detroit, in an offseason where they thought they might lose Scooble, and there were some different rumors that they might pivot, they often get involved in Alex Bregman rumors, even though that never seemed like a fit for me when you're still paying Javi Baez for the next 2 seasons. Looked up that contract today. But as Tiger fans sit there right now, and they said they're not trading Scooble, we'll see if anything goes on there. I don't think there will. I never thought that they were going to get involved in Scooble trade action. Because the price didn't make sense for me. If they were going to trade arguably the best pitcher in the world for 1 year, they would have to get a haul back. And other teams are saying, we're giving you a haul with prospects, young players for multiple years. It wasn't going to make sense. I remember the Yankee rumor that leaked out that it was Ben Rice, Schlittler, and Dominguez or Lombard or one of the big prospects. You remember, Dan?
It was, I know, headed by Rice, Cam was included. It was ridiculous. They were like, see you later.
Which you don't think, would the Yankees do one of those? They would probably do. I don't think they do Rice.
I think they do Schlittler. I don't think they would do Cam for 1 year Scooble.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. And obviously Scooble clears Schlittler and what he could be, but also
but that's the whole point.
It's 1 year for 6 years of club control. I'll tell you this, I would have done Lombard for Peralta. Not to turn this into a Dan Rourke opinion show, but
more Yankees takes later. But it's just the concept. Like, we see young Cam Schlittler as this potential world-beating pitcher, and hopefully he is. Knock on wood, he is. And yeah, Detroit's saying like he would be part of a package for 1 year Scooble that I never thought the price tag would get figured out. Currently winning on that take. But for the Tigers, Scooble Valdez, that's one of your best 1-2 punches in the AL at least. Framber has been so, consistently good. He's had some high and low moments, and I didn't realize he really, talk about a bad PR campaign. Not only the catcher cross-up, but basically from that point, his velo ticked down a little bit. All the bad stuff you don't want to see from your starting pitcher. But if you do pitching stats from the past 4 or 5 years, he ranks out as a top 5 starting pitcher in baseball, especially when you factor in the innings and the workload he takes on. That with Scooble and Framber at the top of the rotation, and especially the status of the AL mid, Minnesota hasn't done anything. Cleveland's Cleveland, and they actually won the division last year. It's funny. Maybe I'll do an episode of things we forgot from last season because the Tigers just blew it down the stretch. Cleveland caught them in the postseason. But then the Tigers went on. They went to Game 5 with Seattle, and they lost that 15-inning Game 5 that otherwise would have sent them to the CS. Basically, their whole lineup is back, which you could use as a good thing or a bad thing. They finished 11th in runs last year. I think it's a good thing. In the postseason, their offense looked pretty rough. But I think Kerry Carpenter had a down year last year. I think Riley Green is 25 years old, and if he was on a lot of other baseball teams, we'd be talking about Riley Green a lot more. The 1-2 in the rotation, they added Ken Lee to their bullpen. So Ken Lee, Will Vest, Finnegan, Holton, like that's a bullpen that, I don't know. I think as far as Tigers fans go, you should be happy you have two aces because they thought there was a chance they were going to trade away one and probably have a young, hopeful guy. Instead, they've got two of the best lefties in the league. So the Red Sox. Me and Dan were talking about that before the show. Lineup-wise, yes, you'd love to see more, but also could I dream upon Spencer Torkelson, who had the light bulb go on a little bit last year, maybe go on a little brighter? Riley, Carey, Colt Keith, all-star second baseman, might start just teasing that. Him and Jazz, hello. I think as far as Tiger fans go, they have to be stoked. They're the easy favorites in the AL Central. And depending where they are at midseason, I think the fun thing to watch for they have two top prospects. They have Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark, who are both top 10 prospects. They're both going to be 21 this year that I wonder, are either of both of them going to be able to get on the timeline for Detroit? Or if Detroit has a real chance, which the AL is still wide open, will they put the chips on the table? And I don't know which young guys that would be. They have a couple second-tier top 50 prospects. I'm not going to pretend to know I know anything about them. I know Max Clark. He does a lot of stuff with the baseball lifestyle guys. They're like in. Good for all of them. I don't know. I wonder if there's going to be a push come to shove moment for the Tigers who it's the last year of Scooble. And as long as they don't tank it and have a horrible first 2 months where we're talking Scooble trade again, I don't know. I'm going to be very interested to see because when you look at this lineup, I mean, it just doesn't compete with the big lineups in baseball where if it's Scooble, Framber, and then either Flaherty or Mize has a good season, like they kind of have the pitching that it's will there be enough hitting for them? Will they add, or can a young guy actually break out for them? And man, I think Kansas City can be a little better. Cleveland is just Cleveland, and then I don't know, the White Sox and the Twins. That's nothing for me. And hey, kind of good for Framber. We thought his contract was entering full-blown weird territory. The fifth highest pitcher AAV ever. Ohtani does both. Scherzer, Verlander, and Zach Wheeler. So, hey, good for the Tigers. All right, the other, let's see, if I'm going by big fish transactions, I mean, the Caleb Durbin trade is just funny. I'll do the Brendan Donovan trade because I don't think I've covered that here yet. Brendan Donovan for two kind of real prospects. Cincha. I learned how to say that, and now I forgot. Jurangelo, the switch pitcher. And Ty Pete, who's been a real outfield prospect, a couple other things. Ben Williamson goes to Tampa for some reason. By the way, Ben Williamson looked really good at third base. They have Caminero, so I don't know what they're going to do. Even a couple of the articles I popped up, they're like, maybe they'll play Williamson at second? I don't know. Could Caminero maybe head over to first base? But they have Aranda. Does Aranda DH? But Yandy Diaz is there. That was talking Rays. Seattle's good. Seattle's very good. And Donovan fits a lot of what they do. He has some versatility. Right now he's listed at third base. And I did a little bit of this. I forget if this was on here or Talking Baseball, but if Brendan Donovan and Bo Bichette enter opening day as third baseman, I think that's just a funny little, what did the analytics nerds that all think the same thing around baseball Do they think third base is now a position that you could, I don't want to say put a lesser guy, because Donovan, I was shocked by his versatility. I don't think Dan was, because he scouted him for our Yanks. Donovan, a couple games at shortstop, a couple games second, left field. So, and right now he's slotted to be the leadoff hitter for your Seattle Mariners. Sneaky, not a massive offseason for them, but Brendan Donovan, who goes into the top of their lineup, Rob Refsnyder, who just mashes lefties. I don't know. Seattle just looks really good. I think there's almost a little bit of Seattle fatigue, because how have they had the same rotation for 3 years? I'll knock on wood. I'm not wishing injury history, but it feels like those guys have done pretty well. I guess Woo's been banged up, and Kirby lost it for a little bit there. But if that's what we're talking about, when you're looking at these other teams that have pitchers seemingly miss 2 seasons, AL West, I still need to wrap my head around. I don't really get the Astros Paredes rumors. I think he could just slot on their team. I know the Red Sox, Carrabis still wants him. And then the Texas Rangers mess with my heart every year, that I need to decide if I'm going to be back all in on them. Because Seattle, I don't know. They're just a fun, balanced team, man. I think lefty switch, righty, lefty, righty stuff, I think that matters more than ever, especially in the postseason when teams are navigating bullpens and different things like that. And their match with Donovan, Raleigh, Julio, Naylor, Randy, I love it. All those guys feel like they bring a different at-bat to the table. But yeah, the Mariners remain set up and one of the favorites in the AL. And I don't know, it was a real price tag. Like, if you were a team, if you want to get in the Brendan Donovan business for 2 years, his baseball card is probably better than his name in baseball right now. He's been a plus hitter every year. The versatility, like we mentioned, I think for him is a skill, not like hey, you can hit, kid, but you don't have a position. I think Brendan Donovan is a really talented ball player. But yeah, you had to give up essentially a top 50 and a top 100 prospect. And the Mariners were willing to pay that price, and they should. Like, they are in their window with the money that they're paying Raleigh, Julio, Naylor. I thought Randy was supposed to be a free agent like last year. He's still got years left somehow. Remember the 2020 World Series? That was pretty crazy. And the Jose Ferrer add to their bullpen before the season. So Seattle, it's not your flashiest offseason, but they made upgrades, and that's kind of all you're looking for. And again, maybe that's from 2 Yankee fans who, yes, Dan, we're going blind excitement mode. It'd be nice to have one new face at camp.
Yeah, and I was, from my end, it's funny saying this, but I got to give them a little credit. In fairness, they did sign Naylor back, which that was a big deal. I mean, I just looked it up, biggest free agent contract they've signed since Cano.
Look at that.
Yeah, and Randy Rosarena, 1-year control.
This is it?
This is it. Free agent after 2026. Making $15 million, too.
Not bad. Good for Randy.
Good for Randy.
What would you do? No, we don't have to play that game. J.P. Crawford at short, probably his last year there. Colt Emerson. That was enough Mariners. The other baseball moves we need to chew through. And speaking of chew through, why don't you guys go to Factor? That's right. Factor, if you want to eat better, but you don't have the time or energy to make it happen. Factor, no meal planning or following recipes or any of the work. Factor, 2 minutes, you done. You start eating. It's become a massive thing around the office. Jimmy, huge Factor guy, because if you've seen his schedule, it is insane that every now and then it's like, I don't really have time for lunch. Maybe I've got 2 minutes. All you need with Factor, and whether you're looking for calorie management, more protein, or whatever, they've got different offerings for you, and we love a deal. Head to factormeals.com/WakeandJake50 off. Use code WakeandJake50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box, plus free breakfast for 1 year. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. The other moves from the day or the past couple days. Marcell Ozuna signed with Pittsburgh this morning. We did, on Talking Baseball, we did winners and losers of the offseason. Trevor gave a Pittsburgh Pirates should be considered a winning offseason. I struggled with that because is it? It almost, we had a kind of weird conversation about grading on a curve. I don't know. Jolly put a tweet out about the Pittsburgh Pirates outfield, which is something to watch. O'Neal Cruz had a couple clips in center field last year that, like, I've never seen a guy care less about playing center field. Brian Reynolds has never graded out that well. And Ryan O'Hearn, who we thought the Pirates brought in as DH, first base, left field here and there, kind of what he's been doing. With Ozuna at DH, Ryan O'Hearn is your left fielder. So, I don't know. It feels like a lot of the smart teams in baseball have an A defensive outfield when they want to roll it out there. What the Blue Jays have done defensively in the outfield in some past years. Our Yanks can roll a pretty good defensive outfielder out there. I feel like the Dodgers, depending who they're rotating in and out, they care about that a lot. That, I don't know, something to look at if you're looking for the Pirates hype train. For me, it's just not enough. Spencer Horwitz, who, hey, go look at the stats. When he's played, he's been good. That's fine. Brandon Lau, when he's on the field, like I like me some Brandon Lau. Brian Reynolds, I think he got some salt in the wound. Not really. He had a bad first half last year. If you look outside of that, he's been good. He's been Brian Reynolds. O'Hearn has hit righties the past few years. I still like Ozuna. He had an oblique thing last year that took away his pop, but he still got on base, which as an aging player, that's usually a skill that can stick for a little bit. And I think he still has pop. I think that's just a big man who had an oblique. So I don't know. As far as we're comparing it to Pirates teams from the past few years, yeah. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is listed 6 for them right now. And I'm not done with O'Neal Cruz, although don't look where his final season stats landed. Pretty shocking. I even like Nick Gonzalez. So, hey, all of that with Skeens, Keller, Chandler, Ashcraft, Jared Jones hopefully comes back. He will come back. We love Jared Jones. Came by the office, was really nice. But I don't know. I just think we look at this. Do you know who the Pirates closer is, Dan?
Dennis Santana.
Dennis Santana, former Yankee. That's why I thought you might have that. And you know ball, Dan.
I know some ball. Ryan O'Hearn, I got the page up. I want to mention this.
Please.
Career defensive numbers in the outfield, -10 defensive runs saved, -3 outs above average. But the one position in left field in just 99 innings, he does grade out league average, 1 defensive run saved. So
maybe the Pirates have it. And I don't know. There's not a lot of teams I just judge by their outfield defense. If those guys can hit to some of their baseball card levels, maybe it's worthwhile. I just think for me, if the Pirates are bad this year, Paul Skeens stuff is going to get loud. Yankees Avenue, talking Yanks, Joe's McFly. And I can't tell you this team is going to be good. This was a little sad. I went on the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball reference last year because I was basically like, hey, Pirates, just don't get off to an awful start. Like, their fan base would love a 500 April so badly. I went and I looked back at last year on, let's see, April 20th, 420, Cody Bellinger's stat day. Coincidentally, they were 8-15. Not what you want. That's a really slow start to the year. And if you're the Pirates and you have a little bit of stank on you, fast forward, the Pirates on May 19th were 15-33. I guess I flew back 12-26. So here's my thing. Baseball can just beat you up. Like, every team is going to have a bad month. The Dodgers will have a bad month next year. Like, I don't know how, but they just will. The bats will go cold. Pitchers will be hurt. A reliever blows a game. And somehow you've lost 3 out of 4 series and it feels like the sky is falling. The Orioles, who me and Dan were talking a little about before, ask them about last year. Like, they just got out of the gates so poorly, their pitching ran out, that their season got shot in the foot. I think after some point in the season they were like 44-41, which is a borderline playoff team in today's baseball. But they were so bad to start the season that it was over. If Pittsburgh does that again, and looking at this team, I can't promise you anything. As I look at the AL Central, I still like the Brewers more than them, obviously. You got to like the Cubs more than them. Reds, I think you like the Reds more than the Pirates. At least now you're having a conversation. But like the Reds, on paper, are a better team than the Pirates. Skeens is interesting. Paul Skeens is in it. Hunter Green's pretty damn good. Couple future Yanks, Dan.
Healthy, yeah. Well, listen, I actually have a question. I was going to say,
Please.
What would you say is a year Pirates fans would be happy about? 500 playoffs? Because wouldn't you agree this is definitely the best team Skeens has had in now what is going on to year
Definitely
3?
the best team.
And do you think it's the best team he will have throughout his control? Like, do you think this is their best shot going forward? Or is this like...
So what I hope, and Pirates fans, sound off. I think if you're a Pirates fan, you're hoping to be around 500. You say that it was a building year. Because the other thing that scares me, Brandon Lau is last year of his contract. Ozuna is a 1-year deal. So the other thing that I don't know what to do with, they have a real prospect, Connor Griffin, top prospect in baseball. He's 19. So, like, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. Are they just going to be on different timelines?
Well, speaking of that, say they're flirting with 500 near the deadline, and you mentioned the 1-year deals with O'Hearn, Ozuna, or Lowe, Ozuna. Are they, even if they're in the ballpark of 500, are they, because they're on 1-year deals?
No.
I think so.
I think if you're around 500, you're in the playoff chase. And I think if you're the Pirates and you have that going, and if you trade Ozuna for what? You know? Half a year for a DH who, let's see what Ozuna looks like. I don't know. I think if you're the Pirates, you're hoping to be around the playoffs. Hey, the Reds made it with 83 wins last year. So, like, if you're around it and you have Skeens and Keller kind of has the full season ERA-wise he's been looking for, and Bubba Chandler is a dude, and Jared Jones comes back. I mean, maybe it's just enough pitching that it works, but, like...
Well, the rotation, now that you say it, is pretty decent.
It's a good rotation.
And if you break it down
that's why people get mad.
Well, who's people? Because honestly, if I had to guess, Pirates fans should be relatively enthused with this offseason. Going back to the scaling it to what you're used to, or like forget other teams, forget the competition. In terms of having a team to look forward to watch this year, your rotation is pretty good.
Your rotation's
You have a closer. You have the best offense. Well, Dennis Santana, you look at his number, he
had
really
a
good.
nice year, but how many relievers... And the reliever trust scale, Dennis Santana.
Jake, we might be acquiring him at the deadline this year.
Could he have a 9 ERA in April? Like, yes. Like, I'd hate to be rude to Dennis Santana because I was rooting for him. Big neck tattoo. Like, whoa, don't mess with Dennis Santana. This is the best team Pirates fans have had. I guess one of the games I like to play, Dan, usually later in the offseason, is kind of a who would you rather? You know. And for them right now, just off the top of my head, like Ryan O'Hearn and Ozuna, what's that? Like 26 million a year, something like that? 14 and 12?
Yeah, right around.
Like, would I rather have that be one guy? But then that guy has to agree to sign. Like,
exactly, yeah.
Like
so
Alonso, like, would he have been a Pirate? I think they talked to him. I don't think he wanted to be. I don't think anybody wants to be.
And like Schwarber, they made that offer too.
They were in on Schwarber.
I will say that the biggest quote unquote L from this would be the defense and how now O'Hearn has to play left. But in terms of the bat, 1 year was it 12 mil for Ozuna? I mean, the upside there, that in itself is a really good contract, and I could see his offensive production getting to where that's a very good deal. It's just what it means to the rest of the team. And O'Hearn playing left obviously isn't ideal. But again, what is the Pirates? This is how I look at it. You know, I'm a natural shill for anybody who doesn't know who I am. If I was a Pirates fan, my coping shill mechanism would be, this is the most I'm able to look forward to an offense in Pittsburgh in years. And that's what you've been asking for with Skeens. Like, as long as your left fielder can catch the ball, you should be okay.
Hey, Skeens Day, just go splinker. Strike him out. Yeah, I get a little too much baseball brain because, okay, Ozuna was 34 last year. He went from 2 banger of a seasons to not a banger of a season. As you've seen with some of the warehouse athletes, Dan, Father Time's undefeated. Like, I bet if you looked at a lot of baseball references that looked like Ozuna, his age 35 season wouldn't be better. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hear that.
It's just the range of baseball. I like Ozuna. I personally think he'll be okay. I mean, look, like how quickly the wheels came off DJ LeMahieu.
Fair. No, 100%. I'm just saying, to be honest, to be as unbiased as possible, right. If the Yankees had an opening for DH and it was sign somebody to a 1-year deal, Ozuna, even at age 35, offensive production, I would buy into that. It's
very interesting.
As a whole baseball team. Like,
absolutely.
Again, the defense, everything that you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. Pirates fans should have a level of excitement. I can't promise you this team hits the middle of May and they don't have a significant losing record. And if you're the Pirates and that happens again, I just don't know. I think we grade them on a slightly different scale. Like, if this team was in the AL East, are we even them versus the Rays?
5th place. But, yeah, I mean, you put
but
us
they're not.
in another division, we're easily winning. So
I know. It's an unfair game to play. I'm interested to see how they'll navigate it. I think they said it's the highest Pirates payroll ever, which that's insane.
They spent money. At the very least,
they did
spent
stuff.
Money.
They did.
Yeah.
And, dude, when you look, so we did a whole winners and losers profile of the offseason, and there's not a lot of big winners. There's not like usually there's 1 or 2 teams that you're like, whoa, they did this, and they traded for this guy. There's not a ton of that. So, like, I get it. Like, as far as Pirates off seasons go,
100%.
This was a win.
The Orioles were so close to being that clear-cut winner if they had a starter.
And I think they're gonna. I think they sign either Giolito or Gallen or, was it Bassett?
Gallen would be good for them.
Gallen would be good.
Yeah. Because Bassett at this,
get the
he's
specs
kind
going.
of like an innings eater at this rate with upside to be more, but if you're banking on certain production, I feel like it's got to be just he's eating innings. Whereas Gallen, that would make me
like
as a
the
Yankee fan.
upside.
I would be,
Okay.
I want the Yankees to sign Gallen if they were to go out and get a starter still, which they're not. But the Orioles offseason with bringing in Helsley at that money and then obviously Alonso.
Orioles have my favorite offseason.
I think like we were talking
Taylor
before,
Ward.
I think they're a playoff team.
I like
had they signed, then I'll be quiet. But had they signed Framber, I would have them in the.
We don't get a chance to bop a lot.
No, this is nice, Sean. I mean, anyways, but yeah,
this is great. Yeah, the upside of Gallen, I get it. And even like Giolito, I believe in guys that like pitch in the AL East and stuff. They're like, I know there's some people rolling their eyes right now, but Dan nodded his head. We know. I kind of like Bassett being the dad of the team. Like the Orioles kind of need that. That I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Hey, we'll talking Pirates for the people today. Let's see, whatever. The Red Sox acquired Caleb Durbin today. Red Sox with an interesting offseason if you zoom in and zoom out. I like a Red Sox team that comes in with pitching because they're always going to find some hitting. And Caleb Durbin, they get a controllable guy who had a nice major league season last year, short king. So I don't know, get ready for the Caleb Durbin, Dustin Pedroia spring training picture. And former Yankee, so we're ready for him to terrorize the team this year. Red Sox fans are just in a funky place because the Bregman stuff landed in a weird area. The Devers stuff landed in a weird area. Boston, it's going to be interesting to see what projections come out for them as a team, but I think the Blue Jays deserve the respect in the division. The Yankees are bringing back the same team that won 94 games. Baltimore, I think they had one of the best off seasons, and it just felt like baseball got them last year. The Red Sox fans, they thought they were going to trade an outfielder for the longest time. They still haven't done that. I do like their rotation. I like the back end of their bullpen. It'll be interesting to see if they're really looking for righty pop at some point this year. We've talked about it on this show a little bit. It's kind of surprising Wilson Contreras has never had the wow season. He also caught for a bunch of years, so that's a little unfair. But a righty at Fenway with his resume, he's got a chance. And then Story makes me a little nervous from them. Can he repeat last year? Because otherwise, righty power, or if you're looking for 30 home runs on the Red Sox, it's really hard to find. Maybe Wheelier is that guy. Maybe it's just the Roman Anthony show. But yeah, Kyle Harrison out. So that's the other thing. Red Sox fans are in a, I think Red Sox fans should like their team. We talk about spring training excitement. You got young guys. You have good guys. You have a rotation. I think Red Sox fans should be excited to see this team in a full year of Roman Anthony, who looks like a dude. I think Yankee fans are kind of trying to keep him out of sight, out of mind, because if he is what he sampled last year, yeah, that's a problem. That's going to be a real problem for the AL East. For Red Sox fans, they're still licking their wounds from the Devers trade, which was so funny when it came out, and all the MLB executives that were like, that was incredible, dude, to get off of that contract. And it's like, Devers hasn't started declining yet. I realize, Yankee fans, hand up, we were the people yelling from day one that Devers wasn't a third baseman, mostly to talk trash, because he actually did get better at third base for a year or two there. But it always seemed like, hey, let's find a way to get him to first. And then he goes to the Giants and he puts on the first base glove. That was some good drama, huh? What was that? Baseball has a way sometime.
My only gripe, and this is nothing towards Boston, I'll give them this first. Had they had Roman Anthony in the wildcard series, there's a good chance they beat us.
Yes.
I will say, something that drove me crazy was all of a sudden Boston, because I think they won a few games in a row after trading Devers, they were kind of being treated like a little engine that could vibes, and it's like, even through the end when they made the playoffs, after trading Devers, this clearly worked. It's like, what's your exact definition of working, per se? I mean, you sign Devers long-term, it's your franchise cornerstone who you love, and you hope you win a few World Series in that time. You trade them, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we're happy to make the playoffs. Squeak in. That is not the Red Sox.
Dan, people are ridiculous, dude. If Devers was a free agent this offseason, okay, this is a fun game to play. So Devers has 8 years. It looks like around $32 million a year. So what's that? 8 times 3 is 11. I'm bad with numbers. Is that $200 million?
This is where you need BB.
This is where me and Dan. Okay,
let me check.
I'll take the calculator out. I don't use the calculator app a lot.
If it's 32 over 8, that's 256.
So would Devers get that contract this free agency? Probably not. But this free agency was weird. It was all the high AAV.
Yeah,
that he would get a higher AAV for sure.
Definitely. I couldn't see him getting 8 years. Now, if you were to apply the logic at, and that's not the question, but the logic when Boston signed him, that open value market would have been right around there, if not more.
Right.
But how old is he now? 28?
He is 29.
29?
29.
I wouldn't give him 8 years. By the way, the Giants, though, pretty decent offseason. Side point. The Red Sox do have the 5th best playoff odds in the American League, by the way. You were asking about that before.
5th best playoff odds.
Yeah, so the Mariners had number 1, I guess in part because of the division.
The division.
But it goes Mariners, Mariners, Tigers, Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox.
Red Sox.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I think that's kind of what we would slot it as.
Okay, Fangraphs has them as a playoff team.
Right. It just gets tricky. It's when you're in a division like that, and the Orioles, where are the Orioles? If you have that.
The Orioles are just behind Boston, 6th best playoff odds, 53.5%. Boston's at 57.5%.
You're just playing a dangerous game in a division where, I don't know, what if the AL Central is buns except for the Royals and the Tigers? So then they both stumble into 89 wins. You're going to miss the playoffs. So, I don't know. Dude, the Giants are going to be so fun this year.
They got a nice
if
team.
it works, awesome. If it doesn't, it kind of sucks because they paid veteran players.
Yeah.
I want the Giants to work.
I feel like every year everybody always wants, there's always a bit of optimism with what the Giants did because it's kind of weird, but it's they should have a competitive team.
This feels like a step further, though.
Yeah.
And Devers is a big part of that because, dude, you've seen Devers. That's a guy.
Yeah.
He had a 372 on base last year.
And if Harrison Bader's anything close to what he was last year, the contract he got might be the best value in all of baseball.
Me and BBD got on that one because we got that one live. That we both thought it was going to be like 2 years, like $38 million.
So that's I'm a Trent Grisham qualifying offer supporter. That is the one thing I do wonder. If I could, just for my own interest, I would wonder, Truth Serum and the Yankees and Brian Cashman, if they could have it like a do-over, would they have signed Bader for 2 years, 20, whatever he got? It's a very good deal. Granted, last year was a kind of career year by far.
I think they like Trent.
So. I do too, and they should.
But
the Bader deal,
and
that
we
was
should,
surprising.
Dan.
I do.
Those playoff games really got to us.
By the way, not to keep going back to projections, but the projections do have the Yankees as the best team in the American League, so we'll keep doing it. Astros 38.5% playoff rate, or playoff odds, which is pretty low.
They're a weird team. I don't know what to do with them yet. Speaking of kind of weird teams, so Durbin slots in for the Red Sox, and they're he should be at second. Marcell Ozuna at third. Interesting. There's a lot of young guys in the lineup, which I don't know what to do with that. I like the way Marcell Ozuna looks. Rafaela is kind of awesome for what he is. I don't know how much more is in the bat, but if it is in there, then that guy becomes like a high-level player. Red Sox fans are sitting there a little uncomfortable. I think what's going to be very interesting is to see the years that Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray have, because what the Red Sox decided to do was to take those two guys on and not really give up any prospect capital, which, okay, if you're taking two guys on as salary dumps, I get it, and I had to call myself out because the Yankees, that's kind of how they got Cody Bellinger, and Cody Bellinger was great. But I don't know. Like, could they have reallocated that money for free agents, or could they have used that money for Bregman or for Alonso? That those guys' seasons are going to be critiqued highly. Yankee fans, if we're being honest, have a lean on Sonny Gray. Wilson Contreras has a chance to like go nuts this year, and that's a little scary. But that's some talking Sox. On the other side, the Brew Crew, it was kind of funny. The baseball nerds were all tweeting it out at the same time. They traded away their whole third base depth chart. Durbin, Monasterio, and Anthony Siegler, former Yankee farmhand, were their top three listed third basemen. They all went over in the trade. It was for Kyle Harrison, David Hamilton, and Shane Drowan. Hamilton is a Brewers ball player. Slap it around lefty infielder. They'll find some spots for him. Right now it's saying that Joey Ortiz would go to third and Jet Williams would be the shortstop for there, the player they got back from the Mets. We'll see. I mean, we've seen the Brewers are going to play Brewer ball and do their thing. Kind of interesting that they moved on from Durbin, but they got back Kyle Harrison, who is a couple years removed from being one of the top pitching prospects in baseball. He was like a guy for the Giants. There was times where he was in their top 2 or 3 of their rotation, and then he was in the Devers deal, and that's how we went on that whole tangent. That Boston fans are sitting there without anything left from the Devers deal, and no Bregman, who they hung their hat on Bregman being like, this is our guy. And they also had some really weird quotes after Bregman. They were like, we're shocked that Bregman didn't come back. They didn't have the best offer, and they wouldn't give him a no-trade clause, which those were like his 2 requests. So why didn't you think you were going to get him? That has Red Sox fans feeling weird, and maybe rightfully so. Let's check out where they are during the season. And the Brewers, like, I don't know, does this not sniff of, like, Kyle Harrison having a breakout season for them? In the past couple years, they've tapped into Chad Patrick and Tobias Myers. Like, Kyle Harrison in the lab for them, I don't know. For AL-only fantasy league players, NL-only, excuse me, get some Kyle Harrison stock. That if they're willing to move on from Caleb Durbin, I don't know. That one doesn't pass my sniff test. For the NL Central teams that'll have to face Kyle Harrison at some point. Any other MLB transactions I think I need to go through? I don't think so. Our guy who signed with the Rays today? Nick Martinez. Sure. He was nice 2 years ago. And I did like that him and Terry Francona were a good combo package. There was a couple days that Tito was like, hey, we need you in the pen this week. And he did it. So, like, any pitcher that was, like, down for that, I respect. And I think there was a good post-game presser. Not that this is what life's about, Dan, but I think he pitched like a complete game, and he was just having a beer at his post-game interview. Guys don't do that anymore.
Word up.
Guys don't do that.
I think he's traded to Houston by July.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You think it's just a pit stop?
100%, and then for some reason the Astros stick out as a... By the way, can I bring it back to Boston?
Please.
Just from a curiosity standpoint.
Absolutely, Dan.
We don't talk about it too much, but Masataka Yoshida is projected to be on the bench. That contract does not get discussed all that much outside of Boston. Not great.
Not great.
He's 5 years for 85, and at least if this is correct, he's set to be on the bench. And they also have Jaron Duran DHing, which there's no way that's the case, right? You'd have Anthony DH, and not to bring it back to Boston, I would just
I don't like having young guys DH.
And Duran's good in the outfield, no?
Duran's athletic. I feel like he hasn't graded out great, but like he's so athletic that I think he's fine to have out there. Yoshida is at a tipping point for me. I don't think it has to get killed yet because I still think he's good. I could be wrong.
He's kind of a singles hitter, and this is coming from me. In 2022, before his free agency, I called him the next Hideki Matsui because I wanted the Yankees to get him.
Because did he have a big WBC?
I just know he was really good in Japan, and maybe it was with a good WBC too. I will say one comment towards Boston: Wilson Contreras. I think that is a good pickup, and he grades out really well defensively at first base too.
He did. I asked. I've said this on here a couple times. We sat at winter meetings. We were next to a Cardinals radio guy, and I was at the time inquiring about Wilson. And he was like, "Oh no, he looked good. He was it was the quote was he's like, "Oh, he looks good, but he just has these weird mental lapses sometimes." And I was like, "Oh, perfect Yankee.
Yeah,
bring him
Thanks.
home."
There was also last thing like a weird vibe ever since the beginning of his tenure with St. Louis, where it just kind of felt like it was the wrong fit for him initially, and then he just happened to be there 3 more years, and now he's finally out. Like I could see him having a big year. Anyways,
for Yoshida, this is the year for me, and maybe I'm late on this, but like his first 2 years are solid. Last year he was hurt. That I don't know. I look at that guy and I think he can hit. Something funny that me and BBD did the other day is we did have you ever been scared when Wheeler Abreu was up?
No, but didn't he almost tie the wild card series? Was that him to right, and it looked like it was going to go over, but it didn't, and that was the final out?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But we looked up his stats against the Yankees, and Wheeler hasn't been good against the Yankees, where I think Yoshida has. And it's just funny that, like, that pollutes our brains.
Yeah, and part of it, too, with Yoshida is, from what I remember, he was not brought on to be a DH, and his fielding ended up tanking his overall production because the defense was so bad.
Yes.
I'll tell you this, Durbin's going to destroy us, though. I mean,
Durbin's going to crush us.
That's a Yankee killer.
I'm ready for that.
Officially. And then we're going to think of Devin Williams every time he gets a hit against us.
Get Yoshida on, like, the Royals or Texas.
Pittsburgh.
Like, I think he can hit. He's got a, like, what are his he's got a 109 career OPS plus. Again, I think they wanted more and him to play the outfield.
That's the thing, the outfield. Yeah. Like in 303 games, I'm not married to WAR or nothing, but a 1.5 WAR in 303 games. I don't know why you're trying to pick on Yoshida so much. I mean,
if this year goes badly, that's an atrocious contract. I still have a little Yoshida stock. And the other thing that I like, and I guess you could hold this against him, he's not good versus lefties, but that means he career 295, 345, 795 versus righties.
Really good against righties, yeah.
And that's what you're going to see a lot of the time. So
it's like Jason.
Very similar, man. Just trade them straight up? No. Because Jason's cheap. Little Yankee socks. How do you like that? It's almost baseball season, Dan. That's crazy. They're all already down there.
They really, yeah. So I don't even know if I should get geared up once Wednesday hits because, like, I saw videos today, Judge and Spencer chilling.
What's going to change on Wednesday?
I'm wondering more so who's not there already. You know? Not saying it's a bad look, but.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be late. If Judge is there, the rest of the team should be there.
Haven't seen Trent yet.
Trent's cool. I defended him too
but
much.
Trent's chilling. I'm not doing that like Stanton. Is he there?
Stanton could.
How does Stanton kind of move in silence?
Stanton could punch me in the face, and I would say, "God bless you."
You want to know why?
Postseason.
Because real G's move in silence, Stan.
Yes, I was going to say that too.
Like that? I didn't. Okay, that was a little talking Yanks in there. Ozuna, no, talked about the Rays rental apparently from Dan. But you're probably right. I miss the pesky Rays, I'll be honest.
Even when they're bad though, you still don't look forward to playing them, really.
No.
Like even when they're bad,
Dude,
it's never like a walk in the park.
The stadium last year was brutal.
I actually really liked the stadium. I think it was nice.
Yeah. I thought you might say that. I think that's baseball yuck for now. We have another tier list coming up later this week with Jolly Olive. Let's talk a little Super Bowl for a little bit. Seahawks Patriots, as I pat myself on the back at the start of the program. I don't know. The Seahawks were the better team. They showed that throughout the season. I really started getting in my feelings about it because my Broncos fandom, the Patriots basically got to the Super Bowl because of one bad play by the Broncos' backup quarterback, and then a snowstorm kicked in. As the game got closer, I started to leak more and more to Patriots, and this is something I need to start reminding myself because I've done this, I think, the past 3 years in different sports, mostly baseball. I talk so much baseball that the time the season comes around, I have like a panic attack. That 3 years ago, I think right before the season, I was like, watch out for the St. Louis Cardinals. And then that's when they started being bad. Last year, right before the season, I was like, know who's probably going to be really good? I think the Orioles ate it. Right before the Super Bowl, I started panicking. I was like, the Patriots are going to win. Drake May's a guy. Rabel's been in Super Bowls. The Seahawks haven't. I just started talking myself out of everything. The game kind of went to the script I laid out. I like Kenneth Walker a lot. I complained about it during the season that Zach Charbonnet really cut into his carries, which is unfair. Zach Charbonnet is very good at his role as the short yardage back, but I think Kenneth Walker is too. And I understand during the season you need to save your guys. But the fact that he was kind of no filter during the Super Bowl, I think that was massive for Seattle. He ends up winning MVP, so I get to say that. And then, the other factor was Darnold just going to have what people had remembered as the signature Darnold kind of messy game. He ended up not. He looked fine. No turnovers throughout the postseason. That was the big stat everyone was throwing around after during the season. He had the most turnovers. And Seattle's defense, which, again, where I started mentally flip-flopping before the game, the Patriots had faced good defenses in the Broncos and in the Texans. They hadn't fared well against them. And it went back into the Patriots season of they hadn't faced real competition. How good are they? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I started doing the Seahawks on a scale, and I was like, are they better than the Broncos? The Texans were better, but, they ended up scoring a little bit, but also Stroud was so bad. And the Patriots still evoke emotions out of me. It's almost like the Red Sox haven't earned, like, my New York sports fandom in a couple years, that I think I directed all towards the Patriots. It's kind of weird, I'll be honest. But, I was rooting against the Pats, and that fan base got tortured for that whole game. That was about as brutal as it gets as far as a Super Bowl hope goes. Like, they almost got just enough hope that it made it worse throughout the game. And I don't know. You should be happy for Sam Darnold. As I was giving myself pats on the back, I mean, I was done with Sam Darnold. I was a pretty firm believer that there was enough evidence on Sam Darnold out there that we just had to, at a certain point, who are we kidding? I listened to a lot of football shows and podcasts and things of that nature, and Ryan Russillo, Todd McShay, guys like that. And it used to always be funny to me that whenever they talked to a football guy, the one quarterback's name that would always come up that people still had hope for was Sam Darnold. And I was like, what? How are we doing this? Like, on the Jets, on the Panthers, he went to kind of quarterback rehab with the 49ers there, and that turns out to be the whole thing going on in this league that I underestimated. How how much the coaching matters in football is just insane. And I listened to Steve Young was on Marcillo, and he went on this full rant about how the West Coast offense still dictates things, and it's Shanahan to McVay, and like literally every good coach around the league is connected to those guys, and every bad coach is not. I think there's a couple asterisks and caveats there, especially with new Super Bowl coach, got a little Canadian there, McDonald for the Seahawks, who is a defensive coach, which I remember I used to get on fights online when I used to have a little more fight to me, Dan, back when Twitter was fun. We were talking about that. I used to have a pretty good rant about Cliff Kingsbury, who just got hired as the Rams offensive coordinator, so now he'll be friends with Trevor Plouffe. I had a whole thing with Kingsbury that he got more job opportunities because he's hot, because his college resume wasn't that impressive. But he was considered an offensive guy that I remember I got into one fight online with this guy that he was like, when the Cardinals hired Kingsbury, I was like, why would you do that? Like the resume isn't that impressive. I was like, I'm interested in him as an O coordinator. Like I think he has some street cred there, but as a head coach, hasn't clicked. And the other argument was, well, if he's going to be a good offensive coordinator, he's going to get hired as a head coach somewhere, so just make him the head coach. One, I don't believe in that. Like, that's just not how it works. And then two, like, hire the right head coach for your team. And that's what Seattle did. McDonald's the guy. He's got kind of one of those weird coaches' personalities that you can't tell if he's happy, mad, sad, or whatever. And yeah, that defense kind of won the Super Bowl, but they were just so much more talented. Kenneth Walker was the best running back on the field. I think Darnold was the best quarterback on the field. I guess Darnold and Drake May is a fun one for another time, but we need to not do it now. JSN was the best wide receiver on the field. Tight ends, I think there's a similar argument there. I think Barner could win. And then throughout the defense as a whole, Seattle's was just so much better. Good for them. I think there was two elite teams this year. I think it was the Seahawks and the Rams. They faced off enough times, and the Seahawks took care of them. So pretty cool sports story for Darnold. I'll have to take that one, and I'm going to have to trust the experts next time that they talk about someone like that. And I hate to do this to young Daniel, who I know messes around with his Jets fandom every year, but the organizations and the teams matter. And when Darnold was at the Panthers, they were not a real franchise. When Baker was at the Panthers, they were not a real franchise. The Jets, man, it's been a tough deal for young Sam Darnold and a lot of other people that hopefully that'll change. But it's pretty crazy now that a lot of the quarterbacks that are successful in this league kind of have to go talk or work with that McVay tree. Or that Shanahan tree, that how valuable those guys are in the NFL. It's kind of crazy that, we live in baseball and managers don't matter anymore. That how important it is in football, how kind of important it is in basketball. I mean, you just need the talent, and then from there, I think the coaching needs to elevate that talent. For how much it matters in football, great for Sam Darnold. Happy for Seattle. It's always funny when you hear about sports teams like Seattle. This is their second Super Bowl. They almost won that other one. That's kind of cool for them. And the Mariners ain't won. So this is picture how big of a night that was for the city of Seattle. And yeah, a little New England hate leaked out throughout the game from me. Not proud of it, but it's real. That's sports. And they'll be back. Oddly enough, I like Rabel. I don't have any actual disdain for Drake May. I think he got a little overhyped this year from a light schedule. But I could also come back and defend me not defending him with his offensive line was pretty brutal. So if they beef that up around him, he seems like the guy that, I don't know, I think in 2-3 years we'll be talking about another Patriots Super Bowl, and they beefed up the O-line, and Drake May learned his lesson. Because I do think he's a dude, and that'll be coming. I think most importantly, the halftime show. I was in. obviously, Bad Bunny, Bad Bunny. We were talking about it a little beforehand. Amazing performer. I mean, I think that goes without saying, but for a guy not speaking the language of 100 million of the viewers, I think he put on an amazing show. Obviously, you guys know I can dance a little bit, so I was wiggling. I was having a good time. Production, not my strength, but everyone was given big snaps for that. I thought it was impressive. Someone compared it to like a Latin Thriller, Michael Jackson Thriller music video just live. I was like, that's an interesting. My brain doesn't work that way, but I'm glad yours does. I thought Benito killed it. I was interested to see how involved he'd get in the political climate. There was some messages in there. He kind of did it respectfully, which maybe that was the right move. Like he kind of, I don't say he walked away the bigger man, as me and Dan were debating if his shoulders were real earlier. He's got a good thing going, huh? He's like a superstar.
He's a good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy.
I will say, looking back on the pictures from I feel foolish for thinking that the shoulders were ever real. But I was watching.
You thought they were real, but you're an optimist.
Did. It made me want to like go to the gym a little bit.
You're a big shoulder guy.
Yeah. I mean, shoulders kind of make the whole build. You know, so it was really good. Honestly, I didn't watch much of the game. I'm not qualified to. I did watch it. It was on mute.
Right.
With WFAN actually in the background, but so audio was technically playing from a different source. Anyways,
you're listening to WFAN during the Super Bowl.
Well, I have my actual radio. It's always on, so it's like it was just there. Anyways, keep doing what you. I just gotta mention this. Super Bowl commercials have kind of lost their luster a little bit.
Ooh, interesting.
Don't you think?
Yeah. So and
not even just because like the AI, it's just in general like they're always a little overhyped, and I don't know if that's a this year thing, but I feel like the last couple of years it's been.
Okay, so this is just top of my head. I think there's too much celebrity involvement. The commercial used to be the commercial, like Budweiser frogs. You got the big horses and stuff, or just something silly. Office Tate, Office linebacker Terry Tate. Like now, it's like, wait, which star is going to pop up in that commercial? And that doesn't. Although I think my favorite commercial was Duncan, which was absolutely star-studded.
I liked your tweet yesterday. That was funny. Like I'm going to get Duncan now.
I'm going.
Yeah,
they went for it.
I think I don't want to label it like, oh, they're trying to get too cute because that's what they've always done, and like that is kind of the nature of it all. But yo, you know I'm a Star Wars guy. A big Star Wars trailer for the new, which you probably have no idea is coming out. A Star Wars movie's coming out this May, by the way.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be the final, like not final, like a legitimate trailer. And it's like a spoof on like what Budweiser does. It's like they try to make it to a car commercial. I'm just like, even Star Wars is getting a little
just do
too
Star Wars.
Like you still gotta make a good commercial.
Star Wars people want Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's what I am, man.
You
Star
are
Wars guy.
Star Wars and WFAN.
That's what I took away from the night.
Yeah, I was I went to a bar for the second half of the game, and like at that point, commercials are kind of out. Like people are just yucking. You could hear it, but
isn't this the last year before it goes to President's Day, the day after the Super Bowl? Because I can't really. I mean, I can drink on Sundays.
Well, I know you can't.
Like, I kind of like Super Bowl party's not my vibe.
No, it's supposed to be a house party event, and like I don't have a ton of friends with houses right now.
You're
living in the city.
Big Broncos guy still, right?
Broncos guy.
When was the last time they were there? That was 2015?
Yeah.
What were you? Did you party that year, or was it like? Because people make the thing. It's like if your team's in it, you don't really want to do a certain type of Super Bowl party. You want to be more locked in. So I understand that.
So that was an interesting time in my life because I was living in Dallas, which is just a weird 2-year window of my life.
You've low-key been around, by the way.
Low-key been around, Dan. I've lived a life.
Yeah.
I think I went to a bar, but that was also like I had a handful of friends and we were all.
You were watching you were able to watch the game.
Oh yeah, and it's like Broncos jersey, like game time. I think I have a good picture of me peeing in my Broncos jersey. Won't post that. Won't post that. Maybe I will.
I was listening to Mike Francesa earlier, and he said, I don't know if this is common. But if Bo Nix didn't get hurt, the Broncos could have won the whole thing. Not to bring that up I'm not doing it a punk way.
It's a great thing to bring up, Dan.
Francesa brought it up.
The Pope.
You texted me a Francesa link back in October. You said he still got his fastball. I'm like, I know. I listen.
He does,
every day.
man. I told the people if I'm in a sad Yankees mood and I need a little copium, I go either Joe's or Francesa.
Yeah. And I'm not a negative fan, but I'll take it from. I'll listen to Francesa. Like,
because it's negative, but it's on the nose, man.
And when it comes to the classic radio figures, you just look at WFAN, which I love WFAN, but on every Reddit thread complaining about Craig Carton, like I ever drop under it, Francesa's still doing his thing. Here's a link to his YouTube. And he's really still doing his thing. It's good.
He is, and he's starting to get like views and shit.
Oh, he's back.
He's kind of crushing.
Anyways, he brought that up.
Here's what I would say. I think Seattle Seahawks were going to win the Super Bowl. Against this Patriots team, probably after watching that game 8 out of 10 times. Football's weird. Like, the script can change and, one fumble here and it just turns into a whole different game. That I think the Seahawks probably beat the Patriots 8 out of 10 times. I think the Seahawks beat the Broncos 7 out of 10 times. Like, what the Broncos had going for them, I think they were a little bit of a better team. Better defense. Yes. Broncos lost with their backup quarterback in a snowstorm.
I know your answer is now, Jake. You think they could have won it all? They could have, but there's a good chance.
If I'm saying they could have won 3 times out of 10 times to win the Super Bowl, you take that. As a fan, you take that. Because the other thing they have going, and again, I don't know if you can remember what the Pope was saying, but Sean Payton has coached in a bunch of Super Bowls.
Francesa loves Sean Payton. He loves the legitimate head coaches with a pedigree. That
he's been to the Super Bowl. He's also, my one bet I'm sad I lost yesterday. A little DraftKings at the end, too. I bet over 2.5 people to throw a pass. So basically, it's the 2 starting quarterbacks, and then you either need one trick play or like an injury. So I went for it, and nothing happened.
Honestly, I didn't know that bet. I didn't know that bet existed because I would do that like every time. But so you lost.
So I lost.
That's a shame.
But like, it's the Super Bowl, and if you're the Patriots,
you do a bunch of like little $5 bets.
Have somebody do something. So I went $20 with 2 bets, and those bets both hit. So I was happy with that. Over, this one was another cute one, but I really liked it. Over 3.5 yards for Ramondre Stevenson's first run and Kenneth Walker's first run. And they both went over.
I have to ask you. You got it?
Yeah.
Word.
So I was good. So that, like, my night was clear. And then, I bet a bunch of dumps. I bet, like, an offensive lineman touchdown.
You bet on baseball?
Big allegations at the end of the show, Dan.
Oh, I'm just.
I go through. I feel like Pete Rose right now.
Yeah.
I go through phases. There was a little while during mid-last Yankees season where I was getting a little bored of the game, so I would place like a bet on the inning just to like relock in a little bit. Otherwise, I don't.
It's homer bets are fun. That's kind of...
Yes, I don't like...
weird sports, though. Obviously, baseball...
For me, it's tricky because I've now made a career out of kind of knowing baseball. Knowing baseball to a degree with some entertainment.
I would say you absolutely have.
A lot of entertainment, a little ball knowledge. That, I don't know, man. Like, you've seen The Warehouse. I get competitive. And if I think I know something, and now you're betting home runs, and it's like, oh, Rice is going to get one today... It's just a losing formula.
Especially when the one time you do actually like, all right, I'm going to bet on this guy hitting a home run. And then they do hit the home run. Then you really think like, yo, I know ball.
Right, I'm the man.
And then you do it the next day.
I'll say, like a lot of people, I think the most fun I'll get from gambling, here we go, people, because you got to be careful. And, like, you shouldn't be gambling with money you don't have. When me, Jimmy, and Joe's are live streaming, and we're like... Because in a baseball game, you can kind of feel things that it'll be like, oh, like Judge's next at bat, he's getting on base. And like if we all bet $2 on that and Judge gets on base, that's like, let's go. But yeah, it's I'm a weird combination of silly, competitive, and having sports knowledge that sports gambling is not where you want to live. You know?
Right.
You put in a couple fun ones. So I don't know.
Also, I think that is a very good description of yourself, by the way.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Listen, this was honestly a blast. I hope I didn't yap too much.
Dude, I mean, we need
to be here anytime.
Yeah, no offense to my godson BBD. Maybe you and I just need to start yucking more. Dan.
I like yucking, dude. Jake, when we do, honestly, I've never heard the term yucking, but like, assuming that means just shooting the shit. Bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
When we do yuck, we have some good yucks.
Birds of a feather.
Isn't there a follow-up line to that? I was gonna say it, then I forget.
Flock together? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. We
Something
flock.
like that. Everyone in the comments, give Dan some love today for filling in for King Beebs. We'll be back on Wednesday. Again, I think it's a tier list video with Jolly that we pre-recorded, so enjoy that. And subscribe and share and all that good stuff. And we're going to start diving deep into baseball because WBC's coming, spring training, hopefully some real updates there. And we'll see you guys soon.